Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Nerd. This is Busha Khan here. The topic for today is going to be starting forces, and the objectives are a very brief discussion about arteries, veins, and capillaries, what is interstitium and interstitial fluid, what are the determinants of net fluid movement across capillaries, and what are the typical pressures across a skeletal muscle capillary wall. To begin with, we know that we studied back in high school the main difference between arteries and veins is that the arteries have got thick walls and the veins have got thin walls. Inside the arteries, the blood flows under high pressure, and inside veins, blood flows under low pressure. Now, we also know that the arteries they divide and divide to form arterioles. Now, these arterioles further divide to form capillaries. Capillaries are only one cell thick. Now these capillaries they join to form venules, and finally the venules they join to form veins, and the veins they carry blood towards heart. Now with the help of this diagram you can see that on my left side we have got arteriole, and on our right side we have got a venule. Between these two structures what do we have? We have got capillaries. So in the diagram, you can see half of the capillary is highlighted red and half of the capillary is highlighted blue. Why? Well, the reason being because a capillary has got an arterial side and a venous side. So, we have got arterial capillary and we have got venous capillary. We'll talk more about this. So, this is exactly what I was saying. A capillary has got an arterial side and a capillary has got venous side. Now what is the significance of these two sides? Well, on the arterial side of the capillary, the blood flows under high pressure. Now this will make more sense to you as we go further. And on the venous side of the capillary, the blood flows under low pressure. Surrounding the capillaries, we have got a space filled with fluid. Now this space is called as interstitium, and the fluid is called as interstitial fluid. So, this interstitial fluid is mainly composed of collagen fibers and proteoglycan filaments. Now, let's talk about what are the determinants of net fluid movement across capillaries. So, to begin with, let's talk about the first pressure that acts inside the capillaries. Its name is capillary hydrostatic pressure. From the name itself, the capillary hydrostatic pressure, it is due to the movement of fluid. So, hydrofluid. So, it is due to the movement of fluid. Now, this capillary hydrostatic pressure, as you can see in the diagram, it is acting in this direction. So, if I consider this part to be the capillary and the one highlighted with yellow as my interstitial fluid, so capillary hydrostatic pressure, it tends to push fluid from the capillary to the interstitium because you can see it is acting in this direction. So it is responsible for outward movement of fluid, and we can denote the capillary hydrostatic pressure with a symbol that is PC. Okay, so it causes filtration by pushing the fluid outside. The second pressure that is acting inside the capillary is the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. Now this plasma colloid osmotic pressure is due to the presence of proteins mainly. Okay, so basically what are the proteins? Albumin, globulins. It is due to the presence of large proteins. Now you can see the direction for the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. It is in the opposite direction. So what does it do? It is responsible for sucking the fluid inside the capillaries. It sucks the fluid from the interstitium into the capillaries. So in this direction. So it opposes filtration and it causes reabsorption. Okay. It is responsible for the inward movement of fluid. Now this plasma colloid osmotic pressure is also called as oncotic pressure, and it is written here. We can denote the plasma colloid osmotic pressure with the help of a symbol again, which is pi p. And for each of these pressures, you have to remember the symbol. You have to remember the symbol as well as you have to remember the arrow. So for the capillary hydrostatic pressure, it is acting in this direction. It is responsible for pushing the fluid outside the capillaries, and the plasma colloid osmotic pressure is responsible for pushing the fluid inside the capillaries. Finally, we have got the interstitial fluid pressure. This pressure is similar to capillary hydrostatic pressure. Why? Because it is also due to the movement of fluid. So, this interstitial fluid pressure, as you can see the direction, as you can see the direction. Now, this direction is not the same. Now, the interstitial fluid pressure can either be positive or it can be negative. So, if the value of interstitial fluid pressure is positive, it opposes filtration, means that it pushes the fluid inside the capillaries. It promotes reabsorption only when the value is positive. So in here, this is the direction when the value of interstitial fluid pressure is positive. I have written here. Also, the interstitial fluid pressure value can be negative due to lymphatic pumping, and in that case, the direction will be this way. Moving on. Oh, also, remember the symbol for this is that PF, and this if stands for interstitial fluid. Moving on. The last one what we have is interstitial fluid colloid pressure. The symbol for this one is pi if, and again the if stands for interstitial fluid. So this interstitial fluid colloid pressure, again it is similar to the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. It is also due to the presence of large proteins, and again let's see the direction. Can you see it? Yes, it is responsible for outward movement of fluid, which means that it promotes filtration. Okay, now with the help of these symbols and directions, we can derive the equation for net filtration pressure. So we have to check all the other pressures in relation to the capillary hydrostatic pressure. So whatever pressures, so if any pressure has a direction opposite to capillary hydrostatic pressure, it is going to be subtracted. So N net filtration pressure is equal to PC, which is capillary hydrostatic pressure, minus, so which pressures are opposite to capillary hydrostatic pressure? This one and this one. So we're going to subtract them. Minus PF minus pi P, and then we're going to add interstitial colloid osmotic pressure. Why? Because it is acting in the same direction as capillary hydrostatic pressure. Moving on. Now we are going to talk about the arterial side and the venous side of the capillary. Now also remember, the arterial side and the venous side of the capillary will not have the same pressures. The reason being because on the arterial side of the capillary, the blood pressure is high and the fluid moves with high velocity, whereas on the venous side of the capillary, the blood flows under low pressure. So on the arterial side of the capillary, the value for capillary hydrostatic pressure will be high. Why? Because the movement of fluid is high as well as the blood pressure is high. So the value for capillary hydrostatic pressure on the arterial side of the capillary is going to be 30 millimeters of mercury, whereas the value for interstitial fluid pressure, now remember, the only value that is going to change on both the sides, either it is arterial side or venous side, is going to be only capillary hydrostatic pressure. The values for other pressures is going to be constant. So the value for negative interstitial fluid pressure is minus 3 millimeters of mercury. The value for interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure is 8 millimeters of mercury. Now we are going to add these three pressures. The reason being, why are we adding? Because they are acting in the same direction. They all are acting in the same direction. However, the only pressure that is acting in the opposite direction is the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. So it is being subtracted here. So to find the net force, we have to subtract the outward forces from the inward forces. So 41 millimeters of mercury minus 28 millimeters of mercury, the answer is 13 millimeters of mercury. Which one is more higher, the value? So as we can see, the value for outward force is more, so the net outward force is equal to 13 millimeters of mercury. Now let's talk about the venous side. On the venous side, obviously the value of capillary hydrostatic pressure will drop, again because the movement of blood is low, as well as the blood pressure is low, right? So the value for capillary hydrostatic pressure has dropped from 30 millimeters of mercury to 10 millimeters of mercury. That is a drastic change. And also the values for the other three pressures, again I told you before also, that they will remain constant. So the negative interstitial fluid pressure is minus 3 millimeters of mercury. Interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure value is 8 millimeters of mercury. You're going to add these three pressures, the reason being because they are acting in the same direction. And now let's talk about the plasma colloid osmotic pressure. The value is 28 millimeters of mercury, and we're going to subtract this. So 28 minus 21 is equal to 7 millimeters of mercury. Which one is high, the inward force or outward force? Obviously the inward force. So the net inward force is equal to 7 millimeters of mercury. Now the last topic for the day is typical pressures across a skeletal muscle capillary wall. The normal capillary hydrostatic pressure is approximately 17 millimeters of mercury. Again, remember that the interstitial fluid pressure can have a positive value or negative value. Most tissues have negative value, negative 3 as a value, and encapsulated organs can have positive value, which can range between plus 5 to plus 10. Lastly, this negative interstitial fluid pressure is caused by pumping of lymphatic system. And remember the plasma colloid osmotic pressure and interstitial fluid colloid osmotic pressure? Yes, both of these pressures are caused by large proteins. Examples of large proteins are albumin and globulins. So 75% of this pressure is caused by albumin, and 25% of this pressure is caused by globulins. I hope you understood this lecture. If you have any doubts, you can always ask us on our email that is mentioned in the description. Thank you.